You know what? I think regardless of who was the winner, what we saw was Calgarians really take a moment to stop and appreciate the wildlife that we have in the city, appreciate some birds. We saw amazing engagement on this. Am I happy that my team Chickadee Bird won? Absolutely. But again, happy to see that there's a lot of awareness about the different species that we have here in the city. And these are just 5 of the over 200 that are in Calgary. We got some engagement numbers halfway through, and we weren't really quite sure what that meant. But as the engaged team continued to talk with us, sort of towards the end, we recognized that an overwhelming number of Calgarians engaged on the portal, voted for their bird, and some of the highest engagement numbers we've seen on any issue or any topic in Calgary, which is just really wonderful to see. I think right now it goes to show that we need good news stories, right? We need things that are friendly, we need things that are approachable, and we need things that span all ages. We know lots of schools got involved in this vote, and so schools voted on block or classrooms voted on block, and so these are really important ways for us to come together as Calgarians, and I think we need more of that. So we'll have a recognition through protocols on June 7th. It'll get posted on the website, and that's kind of where it is.
We've been actually, in a sense, been doing this for about 2 years now. Initially, the idea is we wanted to fulfill the criteria that Nature Canada had put toward all the cities across Canada who were participating in the Bird Friendly initiative, to fulfill different criteria about how to protect the birds and make it a friendlier place. And one of that criteria was an official bird for the city. And so we decided how to go about doing it. We weren't sure. So initially what we did is we sent out a request to all the birding people in the city, members of different environmental groups, as well as First Nations people, asking who would they think would be a great bird to have as an official bird for Calgary. And from that, we got about 110 people responding, and they listed 41 different types of birds. So we picked the 5 that had the most votes, if you want to call it that. And then that's why we came up with the chickadee, the magpie, the northern flicker, the blue jay, and the red-breasted nuthatch. What we were really looking for is the birds were representative of the biodiversity that Calgary has, and expanding that out to the world. People are certainly familiar with climate change as being a big issue, but another thing that people maybe not thinking of too much is the loss of biodiversity across the world. And birds are that most visible component of the biodiversity that we had. So we thought by choosing birds as a focus, that would get people's interest in birds, but expanding that out to biodiversity. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we went with this whole bird process of becoming a bird-friendly city. It was great. I wasn't knowing what to expect, how many people would actually take it on and to actually vote. I was expecting maybe 5,000 people if we were kind of lucky. But then we ended up getting 36,000 plus people voting. So I thought that was tremendous to show the interest out there. And it just reflects, I think, Calgarians are interested in what's going on in their natural areas and in their backyards. So to hear that the birds took precedence over the Olympics, that's amazing, I think, for the citizens of Calgary to do that. There is, it's sort of an underground kind of a thing in a sense, because I do Christmas bird counts, for example, where we walk around back alleys within Calgary looking at what birds are around in the wintertime just before Christmas. And there's probably upwards of 20% or so of the houses you go by have bird feeders. So they're there. They're sort of, casual birders or so. So there's a lot of interest there for a lot of citizens of Calgary. To keep track of what's going on in their yard. I mean, it's a sign of life. In the wintertime, Calgary can get maybe a little down, it's cold and all that. But if you look out the window and you see that little bird coming to your feeder and showing the energy, etc., and then, of course, what happens is they start singing in spring. And you think, all right, winter's funny, losing its grip, spring is coming. And I think that's one of the things I like about the chickadee, for example, is they'll start singing quite early in the spring. And I know, okay, we're getting by winter. We're going to have spring pretty soon.